So, thank you so much for coming here today. And we're going to be talking about designing MEL systems to inform the UAE Framework for Global Climate Resilience. And I'm really happy to be here today with a great set of panelists, and we have another one who's coming, hopefully. In today's agenda, we're first going to talk a bit about what is the UAE Framework for Global Climate Resilience. Now, I'm going to ask in the room, who knows what this global climate resilience framework is? Please raise your hand. You don't know what the UAE FGC are? Yeah? Who else? Okay, so this is very much needed. Rosa, you're going to be providing some very key context here. We're then going to talk about defining MEL systems for national adaptation planning processes. And we're going to introduce a toolkit that's been designed to help adaptation teams and governments to do MEL. I'm going to do another count. Who here knows what monitoring, evaluation, and learning systems are? And yeah, thank you so much. And then we'll talk about experiences in implementing MEL activities, and we'll talk about experiences from Kiribati, from Haiti, and from Namibia. And then we'll have some breakout groups, and we'll play it a bit by ear to see who's interested in what, and to tap in the great experiences of our participants. And I'm delighted today to be here with Ms. Rosa Morales, Adaptation Committee member and General Director of Climate Change and Desertification, Ministerio del Ambiente. Oh, no? I'm sorry.
No, I'm currently working at CARE Peru as a manager of the Climate Change, Amazon, and Water Resources program.
We'll change that in the final slide. I'm very sorry. And then also with Mr. Kirata Tekeira, who is, I'm really sorry, would you like to pronounce your last name? Wonderful. Adaptation Officer at the President's Office of Kiribati. We've just been joined by Ms. Gertie Pierre, Director of Climate Change in the Ministry of Environment of Haiti, and Mr. Johannes Munango, Transparency Technical Expert from the Ministry of Environment, Forestry and Tourism in Namibia. And I will pass on to Rosa Morales first to start and giving us some great context about the UAE framework.
Thank you. Yes, I'll provide you with some information not only on the framework, but also on the Adaptation Committee. Thank you very much for joining this, this meeting. Yeah, so for those who are not so familiar with the Adaptation Committee, it was established in 2010 and works to fulfill 5 core functions. As you see in the slide, the first one is to provide technical support and guidance to the parties. This is a very important aspect that goes to bringing coherence into the different bodies and elements that work on climate change within the convention. The second one is sharing relevant information, knowledge, experiences, and good practices. As we know, the adaptation issue is more and more important, and the Paris Agreement brought us some balance into the dichotomy of mitigation and adaptation. The third one is promoting synergies and strengthening the engagement with national, regional, international organizations, centers, and networks, and of course, the different stakeholders around the issue. The fourth is considering information communicated by parties on their monitoring and review of adaptation actions and supports, which is one of the elements or one of the issues that we are going to treat here, and providing information and recommendations for consideration of parties. And this is the more, a formal part, let's say, of the work. As Emily mentioned, we're going to also be here in the framework of global climate resilience, and it was adopted as it mentions here in Decision 2 CMA 5, and the purpose is to guide the achievement of the global goal on adaptation and the review of overall progress in achieving it. So this is the framework in which we're going to focus on the design of the MEL systems within countries. One of the most important, I would say, at least for me, elements of the UAE framework has to do with something that we seek in the Paris Agreement, but we couldn't achieve, and we did it afterwards, which is to have very specific working areas. Before Paris, all the climate change discussions, the negotiations discussions, were more like broad, and for instance, at home, people asked, okay, where and when is it that we're going to work on water? When and where is it that we're going to work on agriculture and all the different sectors that are impacted by climate change? And the answer was, okay, and we had to answer many things when I was in the government, of course. Now I'm not, as I clarified. But now we have these 7 thematic areas, which are very specific, related to water, climate resilience, sanitation, climate resilience, food and agricultural production, health, ecosystems and biodiversity, infrastructure and human settlements, poverty eradication, livelihoods, and the last one, which is very important also, it has to do with cultural heritage, including traditional knowledge, indigenous peoples' knowledge, and local knowledge systems. So now we have a very specific mandate on different thematic areas that are very, very important for the different countries and for people, which is the important thing, right? And then there is also a mention of the adaptation cycle. As we all know, the adaptation cycle starts with the vulnerability assessment, the impact, vulnerability, and risk assessment. Then countries go to planning, and when I say countries, I am not only referring to the national level, but it can also be at the local level, at the different levels of the countries. Then we go to the implementation, and afterwards we have to monitor, evaluate, and learn, because then the cycle starts again, as is the NDCs, right? The cycle of the NDCs, where we have to inform and to be very aware of the advances and the lessons learned, and how things are going to be able to make an adaptive management of the implementation. So within the framework, parties are encouraged to take into account a country-driven, gender-responsive, participatory, and fully transparent approaches, as well as human rights. And this is where we start seeing in the negotiations and the decisions that some are mandates as such, but other decisions, or within the decisions, we also find some suggestions to countries. So this depends on the context, on the specific context. Another suggestion, let's say, because parties are encouraged to, is to ensure intergenerational equity and social justice, and also to take into account the vulnerable ecosystems, groups, and communities. There are also, as you can see, there are some characteristics in relation to how the adaptation should take place. I will pass this one. And and maybe here, one important thing is the linkage to the MEL systems. And the target on MEL systems is by 2030. The national MEL systems can contribute, as I mentioned before, information needed to assess progress towards the targets and implementation of the framework, and also it offers helpful indications on what to monitor and evaluate at the national MEL systems. And I understand that what we're going to do is to reflect on how the MEL systems can help us in this endeavor. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rosa. And please do stay in touch with the Adaptation Committee if you'd like to take the QR code here. And please know that the presentation is also going to be available live from the PCCB site, so you'll be able to get that QR code a bit later as well. So I'm going to stand and move around because I've been doing a lot of sitting over the last 3 weeks. And I'm now going to talk about defining monitoring, evaluation, and learning for national adaptation planning processes. So as Rosa just mentioned, national MEL systems play a critical role in informing collective progress on adaptation. And we do have this target that by 2030, countries are supposed to have designed, established, operationalized a system for monitoring, evaluation, and learning for national adaptation and build the required capacity. So that's in less than 6 years. So how we're going to do this, really, is kind of the questions that we're looking at today. And MEL systems are really important for NAP processes, not just to inform the global processes, but mostly at the national and the local level. So they're really key to understanding the effectiveness of NAP processes. So what is working for whom and how is really key to improve adaptive management and mutual accountability. So not just reporting to the top, but also for the national government to report back and to give information to their communities and citizens. Strengthening equity, so including the voices and the perspective of diverse people in the policy processes. Enhancing efficiency, so how much are we spending, are we doing it well? But also having a MEL system can help show the effectiveness, the adequacy, and mobilize domestic, international, and public and private finance. How do we define MEL systems? So this is a wonderful graph that we've developed where you can see that, I can't point. The clicky pointer is not working. Whoops. Sorry. But we can see that you have the MEL cycle is going all around the cycle of adaptation processes. And you have monitoring, or the light blue line, and evaluations that are sporadic throughout the circle that are embedded in the dark blue circle of learning. And what we mean to say by that is that MEL occurs both as a distinct phase of NAP processes, so at the end where you have a lot of evaluation to do, but it's also a set of activities throughout adaptation processes. So you don't just do evaluation on MEL at the end, you have to start at the very beginning. And so monitoring and evaluation must be embedded in learning, because otherwise, what do you do with the data and the evidence that you hear? If you don't make pathways to learning, then you can't have adaptive management, you can't improve, etc. And adaptation in the end is a learning process in itself. So MEL is really a key adaptation action to make this happen. So this little graph is great, but it doesn't really tell you how to do it in country, right? So what does that mean for national governments? And this is why the NAP Global Network partnered with the Adaptation Committee to produce a toolkit for monitoring, evaluation, and learning for NAP processes. And the toolkit really acknowledges critical realities of countries in the sense that countries can start working on the MEL systems at different stages of their NAP process. First, the NAP process doesn't happen linearly. You don't always follow a set of steps like one after the other. There's a lot of things happening at the same time. You're planning, you're doing risk assessments, and there's a lot of different projects and actors. So we provide easy and navigable links between the sections so readers can start wherever they're at. And we want to make sure that we reflected that countries have different sets of capacities and resources. So there's a comprehensive picture of what MEL systems can be, but it doesn't mean that you have to do everything. So in the toolkit, we try to put an emphasis of what are some of the minimal steps and good practices that countries can take to make sure that the MEL systems are going to be effective and inclusive, and that's been the priority. We structured in 19 sub-actions with guidance and 33 practical examples, including from the countries and our participants that are here. So you can see also that, you cannot copy-paste a MEL system from a country to the other. There is no global blueprint, and that's something that some people have often asked me, like, Emily, give me what is a MEL system? What does a comprehensive MEL system mean? Well, it always depends, and I still haven't been able, and I don't think I want to provide a response on that. because you can't either apply top-down indicators without contextualization. So countries really need to follow all the steps of the iterative adaptation cycle to understand their vulnerabilities and risks, plan their priorities, implement it, and this is what you track. And as you can see, the toolkit has been designed according to the iterative adaptation cycle in order to also reflect the latest decision on the UAE Framework for Global Climate Resilience. Now, I'm going to go through very quickly some good practices because I'm going to try to keep on time. But one of the things is, okay, so first, always build on existing initiatives and systems. There is no such thing as, nowadays, there is no such thing as we don't have data and we don't have systems. I've not seen a country that doesn't have a system or data in quite a few years. So it's really time that we move forward from saying we don't have the data, we don't have systems. We build on what's existing. Clarifying the purposes and objectives of your MEL system from the start is really essential. Otherwise, you risk developing something that's not going to actually serve the purpose of reducing vulnerabilities and risks. Be boldly pragmatic. So, sure, you want to be ambitious, but make sure that it's also realistic. And start small, pile up, and scale up. Starting to plan and implement your MEL system from the onset when you're doing adaptation planning is also one of the keys to success. And budgeting your MEL as an activity and not just as an aside also is critical. Now, quick next steps, we're going to be translating the toolkit. We are translating the toolkits right now in Spanish and French and maybe other languages. We're going to be doing deep dives into other key topics, which you folks are going to help us identify through our discussion after our panelists. We are developing an online course, which is going to launch in early 2025, and I'm going to play the trailer. I'm going to take just 2 minutes, a minute and a half. And we're planning to review the toolkit every 2-3 years because we want this to stay a reference for how to do MEL systems for adaptation. And that's why also your inputs and your feedback are really key. And on this, I think this is the slide where there's the trailer playing, and I'm not sure if... Oh, no, this is the slide. No. I'm sorry. I'm going to try to do this again. I don't know if there's a way that we can press play at the back. No, okay. Well, maybe we'll find at the end a way to play it after our panelists. So for now, I'm going to go to our country experiences. And I will pass to Kirata. Do you want to speak from the podium? Okay. Please have the mic from the podium.
Hey. Before I start, I wanted to give thanks to UNFCCC and IST for the invitation. This has been an opportunity to share what GDBS have done and have tried to do with the impact of climate change. Furthermore, I wanted to thanks for the continuous support that you have provided to GDBS adaptation effort. Really appreciate it. So introducing the topic, the Integrated Vulnerability Assessment, we call it IVA, is a critical tool for understanding how climate change affects Kiribati, a low-lying island nation. Looking at the theme from toolkits to reality, this presentation will show how the IVA, technical toolkit, is being used to shape Kiribati's National Adaptation Plan, locally known as the Kiribati Joint Implementation Plan. We call it the KJIP. Kiribati is one of the countries most vulnerable to climate change due to its geographical location and low elevation. These vulnerabilities threaten the environment and the population, food security, freshwater resources, security of coastal protection, and so on. So for the purpose of this side event, I will dive straight to what we have used in assessment and has been translated into plans, or simply what we have done towards these issues. So the IVA is the first step of all of island approach. It's just following the NAP processes, just to start off with assessments and then to next processes. It is a comprehensive tool designed to assess the climate vulnerabilities across multiple sectors, including, as you can see, forest health, coastal health, water security, security of place, energy security, income security, community health, and food security. These are the 8 human security objectives assessed against the 5 livelihood assets, namely the ecosystem, infrastructure, and services, finance, human resources, and institution and governance. So as shown in the table, this is an example of how we measure vulnerability and score in this assessment. So the scoring is 1 being highly vulnerable and 5 is the least or no problem at all. IVA methodologies uses 2 main approaches, and this is where we get this score. One is the participatory rural appraisal, which is community engagement, consultations, and 2 is the household survey. There are some other components like mapping of vulnerable areas, coastal assessment, water and soil testing, but these can only form part of the assessment upon the availability of expertise or concerned agencies. IVA used to set a baseline assessment. Upon the completion of the IVA, a report was produced and shared with expertise or the concerned government sector for their in-depth assessment or to find responsive and adaptive measures. In Kiribati, out of the 23 inhabited islands, 17 islands have undergone IVA, and while only 6 remaining islands have not. This first stage with IVA helps policymakers identify the most vulnerable areas and sectors and prioritizing actions and design target interventions. So the IVA forms the foundation of the Kiribati National Adaptation Plan, starting from translating these vulnerabilities into island strategic plans and then to a broader strategy framework for addressing climate change vulnerabilities at the national level, which is the NAP. IVA provides critical data and insights that inform the development of the NAP, ensuring that it is based on robust evidence and covers all priority sectors. So the process in between the IVA to island strategic plans and then to the NAP is the IVA database. We call it the Kiribati Integrated Vulnerability Assessment Database. All the data collected through IVA is synchronized into a bunch of processes and to analyze the data until it reaches the Kiva database in a form of reports, charts and graphs, maps and results. So the database is an essential tool for storing and managing the data collected through the IVA. It allows for easy access to critical climate vulnerability data and ensures that this information can be used for decision-making, monitoring, and reporting on adaptation progress. From IVA into Kiva database, and then Kiribati is able to develop the NAP, the Kiribati NAP. The Kiribati NAP, which we call the KJIP, Kiribati Joint Implementation Plan. It contains 12 strategies with 104 actions and 330 sub-activities. In the last progress reporting in 2019, from these actions and sub-activities, 14% are under review, 11% are at the early stage, and 40% are ongoing, and 12% are completed. The ultimate goal is not just to create tools like the IVA, but to implement real, tangible actions on the ground. Through the KJIP, the NAP, and the Kiva database, GDBS is translating these findings of the IVA into concrete projects like building seawalls, improving water storage systems, and protecting the ecosystems. This transition from data collection to adaptation is key to ensuring Kiriba's resilience in the face of climate change. Despite significant progress, there are ongoing challenges in implementing the NAP, including securing adequate funding, building local and technology capacity, and ensuring the active participation of communities to ensure a sense of belonging to the projects. As mentioned before, from 2014, in the first version of the GAGIP to the 2019, only 14% of the 104 actions and 330 sub-activities are completed and are ongoing. And this is due to unavailability of funding, lack of capacity and technology to actually implement these projects. International support and cooperation are vital to strengthen Kiriba's adaptation efforts as the countries continue its efforts in climate resilience. And now that I have the chance, I wanted to thank for our partners who have been supporting our efforts, including the NFG and the IIST, and those who are planning to support, please do so. In conclusion, the IVA and the NAP represent a comprehensive approach to adapting to climate change in Kiribati, moving from vulnerability assessment to real-world actions. And this process is an ongoing journey where local knowledge, scientific data, and international cooperation all play a role in shaping a resilient future for Kiribati. With the right toolkits, adaptation will be effective in Kiribati. With the right support, Kiribati's adaptation effort will be enhanced. And with all of this, I think Kiribati is hopeful for a brighter and resilient future. I thank you for your attention, Ambassador.
Thank you so much, Hirata. I think these are really great messages. Thank you. I'm now going to pass to our colleague Gertie from Haiti to take the floor now.
Good morning, everyone. I would like to thank you, NAP Global Network, for this invitation to invite us and then presenting what we do until we start the NAP process in Haiti. So the NAP process in Haiti was started in 2019, and then we've elaborated the National Adaptation Plan on 2022, and then we submit to the convention in 2023. So what now in the implementation, we're in process for the implementation, and then one of the key that the first step when we was in the process was elaborate a NAP roadmap for the NAP, so we can know each year what we have to do in order to implement the NAP and the process. As you know, the NAP process is not start and the end, but we need to implement it at every action, every priority that we identify in the NAP. So what now we are in 2024, and then one of the steps that we have to do is elaborate the MEL for the NAP, and then we just start with NAP Global Network, and then to see how we can do it. So we start to communicate what now we are going to about to start in January our MEL. But before that, we was elaborate a lot of activities under the NAP. One of activities that was we elaborate a NAP financing strategy. This document was one of key that we elaborate in order to know how much how much money we will need for the implementation of the NAP, because our NAP is about 10 years on implementation. So on the NAP process, when we do the regional constitution, we was identified 21 key priority, and then those priority and action we need to implement in them. So the NAP finance strategy was one key of the document that we elaborate and then to do so. And complementary to this document, we elaborate also a tracking tools. This tracking tools is present on the statute or on the statute for the finance mobilization of the country for the adaptation, mitigation, and capacity building, and then also we take into account technology transfer. With this, we know how the implementation doing in Haiti, what kind of project that we already have right now, and then they are talking, they are implemented in Haiti, and then also that will help us to have a result of finance a lot more structure and target action between with the implementation of agency that contribute to or not, and the efficient dialogue that we take in account in Haiti, and also that can facilitate a better alignment with adaptation priority of the in the country. Under the NAP implementation also, we elaborate, we just then we've elaborate a gender climate change and adaptation action plan that we take in account to, in order to elaborate. This was one of objective of the NAP that we have, is in order to take in account the gender equality in Haiti. So this was one of priority for us because we and the NAP process we take in account the gender balance. So this was two key priorities or objectives of the NAP. This was implementing a large-scale gender-sensitive program and project that aims of increasing resilience to adverse climate conditions and the priority sectors of the NAP. And then strengthening human capital, particularly that of human and girl, for adaptation planning at level or at local level, authority most vulnerable to climate change. Is to take into account that in Haiti and at level, at the community level, at local level, we have we have a lot of women and girls very vulnerable to climate change, and then they have to know or to need how they can adapt to the climate change, because in Haiti right now we already have sea level in some regions in Haiti, so we already have some displacement of people from the base of community and then to other community. The gender and climate change and adaptation plan in Haiti is divided under 6 priority. So as you know, we develop training and program to integrate gender in the sector to take into account adaptation. Training gender, between the gender focal point and the Ministry of Environment, we do a lot of taking gender into account in the implementation of the NAP. Also develop and implement some awareness raising program on to integrate gender and sectorial policies, because we are talking the gender in Haiti right now, because it was very difficult. We don't have a country that they know the women have a place in the society. It's not like easy. And then integrate gender and particularly sex-specific indicator onto our monitoring and learning framework of the NAP. So one of the key that we made this presentation is like we didn't elaborate yet the MEL, but we already collect some data about the NAP process. So we elaborate in Haiti with the support of the NAP Global Network, some workshop for the Ministry of Environment and other that to carry around drone. Using drone technology to take or to collect data through drone technology. So it was a key activity that we made with that, because the objective was training and then strengthening the technical capacity for some key executive of the Ministry of Environment, and then that is taking account some collection a spatial data for other activity that we have. But that's one of the activity that we made, because in Haiti we have forest fire. So when we have that, we can go there. So the drone help us, and then to take some localization of the fire. So that one of very important. So also this technology will help us to collect data when we have to elaborate the MEL next year. So we are about to prepare there. So I will conclude with that to acknowledge value support by NAP Global Network to our country, as well many other implementing partners like UN agencies, organizations, etc. So thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Gertie. Merci beaucoup. And then last but not the least, Johannes, take it away.
Thank you, Emily. Yes, it's always a great pleasure to learn from other country experiences and, of course, share our own insights. In the case of Namibia, our MEL journey actually started with the development of our adaptation communication, which we submitted to the Secretariat in 2021. Now, it's this adaptation communication that actually recommended a robust MEL. So from there, our journey began, and this journey was actually phased in 4 stages. So the first stage, and this was due to budgetary constraints, we had to pilot in the agricultural sector. So, and we hope that after piloting in the agricultural sector, we can then roll this out to other sectors. So this was phased in 4 stages. The first stage was to develop the baseline indicators for the agricultural sector, which we started in 2022. So this was done through a multi-stakeholder consultation approach. So we basically had to cover the whole country, collecting this data to develop these baseline indicators. So the second stage, which was recently, last year, we had to come back to the baseline indicator report and see if there is still more that we can do on the indicator. So we have to revise that report. And then, of course, the third stage of that was capacity building. So in this capacity building approach, we clustered regions into different groups. So we had to cover the whole grounds, like we have to cover 14 regions, so we had to cluster them into different groups. So we had a total of 4 capacity buildings, and then of course 3 for clustering all the regions, and then we had 1 national one. And then of course, development of the roadmap on the MEL implementation. So these were the 4 stages of us developing the system. So with regards to institutional arrangements, it's two key players that are involved, which is the Ministry of Environment, Forestry and Tourism, and of course the Ministry of Agriculture, Water and Land Reform. So the Ministry of Environment, Forestry and Tourism oversees and coordinates everything climate change related. However, in the agricultural sector, the activities are mostly implemented or carried out in the Ministry of Agriculture. So those are the key two players. So, of course, during this journey, collecting data and, of course, developing the baseline indicators, we identified that there's, of course, gender disparities. So we had to then make sure that these indicators are gender sensitive. So we did that to close the gaps and make sure that we develop a MEL system that caters for both genders. So lesson learned, of course, government need to take ownership of these processes. And of course, costs need to be shared. In as much as government needs to take ownership, we realize that it's not gonna be successful enough because capacity-wise and finances are a very big hurdle when it comes to this. So we need partners to come on board and thank, at this point I would like to thank the NAP Global Network and ISD for always coming through when we need the financial support. I will make this as brief as possible with respect to time. So the next steps now will be us, of course, developing the tools, the processes, and of course that will oversee the implementation of the NAP. So, and then, of course, we'll still have to come back to NAP, Global Network and ISD to see if we can get the finances to finally develop a web-based MEL system, of course, that will help in terms of monitoring, evaluation, and learning for all our adaptation processes. At this point, I'd like to state that Namibia is in the process of developing its NAP. So we got support from GCF, readiness support, to a tune of 2.7 million USD. So Namibia is now moving into implementing and developing that NAP. So I think I'll end there. Brief, straight to the point. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Johannes, and all our panelists. We had planned to do some breakout groups to harvest questions, and there's not so much time. We started a bit late. It's the last day of COP. You know, things don't go always as planned. But we'll do adaptive management live. And so we're going to turn to have a Q&A for our panelists. And what I'll do also is that at the end, I'll show the video for our online course that's coming, and so that you have a way to feed to us any of your questions and feedback. So any questions for our panelists, please?
Thank you very much. My name is Livson Manguo. I'm from Oxfam, South Africa. I'm a MEL specialist myself. There are so many processes going on at the same time. So we have NEP, we have the NDCs. How do we reconcile the two? Because for me, there's a linkage there, and in terms of outcomes. So how do we align our MEL systems to be able to capture the data that we need, that informs both these big processes, because we will end up with MEL systems that are in silos and isolated, where we are actually seeking integration and synergy and consolidation. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll take another question if there's a question from the audience. Or we can turn to the panel and wait for you to think about other questions. And please, Rosa, if you want to also speak on your national capacity and knowledge. But who would like to take this question? Maybe join us? Okay.
Thank you for the question, but it's a very important question. But for us in Haiti, now we already have the NAP elaborate. And then our NAP is what we take into account 4 sectors, is what we have: agriculture, and water resource, and infrastructure. So we made a NAP sectorial NAP. Okay, what now? If we have to update the NAP, we will take an account of the other sectors. But something that I see, I will let Namibia respond, is that Namibia already working on NAPs, on sectorial NAP, because they're taking account of the agriculture, and then after that they do a MEL for agriculture, and then what now they will elaborate the NAP. So I had the same question for him. Thank you. You asked the question. So for me, we already update the NDC 2 times. We are going to the 3rd time right now. So it's more easy for us because we some sector that we didn't take into account, now we will take account. It's like the market carbon article under the Article 6. We will take an account always the gender responsive right now. So it's not like a big deal for us in Haiti to build with that, because it's like a process, and then at the same time you elaborate the document, and then what now we are going on the MEL. So the MEL is to help us in the implementation of the document or in the policy that we have. So for Haiti, for us, it's not like very straight for us. We can build with that. So I will pass to Namibia.
Yes, thank you very much. Very important question, by the way. I think for the case of Namibia, we are still, we haven't done our NAP yet. But you should take a point that we have an updated NDC, and this is what specifies all our key adaptation actions. So we haven't yet done our NAP, but the NDC is an informing document. So these key adaptation actions will inform the development of the NAP. Luckily for us, we have already identified those, and luckily for us, we are still in the early stage of developing the NAP. So the NDC informs that. MEL comes in from a point of monitoring and evaluation. So all these processes are not in silos. All these processes are the ones that are going to inform the NAP. So all of our adaptation key actions that are identified in the NDC have already informed the NAP. So we are still going to focus on those key adaptation actions. And then when we develop the MEL, they will then come in to see whether what is working and what is not working, and how can we learn from that. So it's very important that all these processes are merit. We are not working in silence. So thank you. Emily, back to you.
Thank you. That's a very important question as well. Here in Kiribati, we still we have developed the MEL framework for our NAP, and the version that I've shown in our presentation is the second version of the NAP. It was through the MEL we've been able to do the progress reporting on the first version, and then all the actions and the sub-actions have been updated and into a second version that I've shown in there. And I think with the support of the NAP this year, we think we're probably going to do again another progress report, and then maybe come up with another version of the NAP. And for the NDC, we haven't fully have the MEL framework for it. There are some adaptation components in the NAP and the NDC that align with what we have gone through the MEL processes in the NAP for the NAP. Thanks.
Thank you. Rosa, do you want to add something from your side? As you wish.
No, just that I think that we all agree that they are both linked. You cannot have, on the one hand, activities within the NAP, and then on the other hand, another activities on the NDCs. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. So yeah, huge importance of NDC NAP alignment. And I think what I really like is that throughout the profile, we have really different situations, like a NAP first, and then an adaptation component of the NDC, another NAP, and then with it's iterative progress reporting is key, and then actually MEL systems and evidence from MEL systems can really use as a bridge to link these different systems and to prevent working in silos. I'm going to turn to the back. Do we have time for one more question, PCCB? There's one here. Okay, perfect. And then I'm going to ask also our panelists to be brief in the... Thank you.
Good morning. First of all, good morning, and thank you for this very informative presentation. I'm from Mauritius. I have a similar situation like Kiribati. And I have two questions, in fact. First one is whether MEL is to be catered in the NAP readiness proposal so that we can cater for the budget. Second one is for Namibia. When we talk of agriculture, it is also connected with water, and it is also connected with energy. So did you, when you did the MEL system, did you account indicators for these two sectors as well? Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm going to put a 1 minute each, please.
Yes, thank you very much, Mauritius. It's very important. There's a nexus, water, energy, and agriculture. You can't produce food without water. You need energy if you have to draw this water. So that nexus, yes, we did a thorough study and we included it in our indicator baseline report. However, now the pilot is specifically because 60% of Namibia's population depend on agriculture, but there's no way that you're going to leave out energy and then the water, because this is a whole system. So yes, we did cater for that. And the baseline indicator report is actually available online if you want to read through that. Thank you.
If we understand well, the first question was how to best integrate the MEL system as part of NAP readiness from the onset. No? Who wants to take it? I think I mean I'll just answer that. It's a good practice. It's one of the best practices to make sure that you treat MEL systems as one of the action of the NAP. And when you look at the UAE Framework for Global Climate Resilience, there are these 4 phases that you need to include when you're planning for your NAP, and you need to cost and budget it, right? Because that's one of the things that usually falls apart, is that you plan your activities and then you think, yes, we need to do MEL of it. You need to track it and we need to learn from it. But if you don't build these processes and these institutional links and these activities, then actually you can't do it. But we see a lot of NAP now that are leapfrogging and making sure that they cost and integrate MEL as an action itself, not just an afterthought. So thank you. And if possible, I'm going to ask to take a minute and a half to show the trailer. So very glad to say that the Toolkit is now going to be, it's going to be available as an online course for free starting in February 2025. So we're really excited about this, and it also confirmed that I will never be an actress. Yes, and we'll also show a QR code on to...
Many of the countries that are the most vulnerable to climate impacts are also the ones that have limited resources to address them.
Climate change is happening and we need to adapt fast. But in order for us to know if we're on the right track, we need monitoring, evaluation and learning systems to track progress on our adaptation efforts and measure their effectiveness.
Welcome to the NAP Global Network's course on monitoring, evaluation and learning for national adaptation plan processes.
If you have been tasked with setting up a monitoring, evaluation and learning system for climate change adaptation and you don't know where to start, this course is for you.
Hi, I'm Shafak.
Hello, my name is Chi Pham.
Hi, I'm Emily.
Hi, I'm Patrick.
The NAP Global Network has been working for over 10 years with country governments, supporting them in their monitoring, evaluation and learning systems. People kept telling us we can't find all the information, resources and examples in one place. A lot of the information is not targeted for climate change adaptation, and that is why we created this course.
Many of you have busy lives, so we've broken down this course into small chunks so you can study at your own pace.
In just a few hours, you'll be brought up to speed with the best practices on MEL systems.
This course will cover the experiences, perspectives, and knowledge of a wide range of people to ensure that MEL systems are done in a socially inclusive and gender-responsive manner.
Scattered throughout the course are case studies from 20 countries from all over the world.
We'll help you to understand MEL systems so that you can focus your energy and resources on doing it right.
Let's get started.
I hope you're as excited as I am. And I'll just ask if we can put back the slides, and I'll just leave the QR code from one of our slides, and then we'll leave the space for the other session. But in the meantime, I want to please ask for a round of applause to our panelists. And thank you very much for everybody here to be here with us on a Friday or Thursday morning. It's very much appreciated, and the QR code will be there in a second. Otherwise, I'm going to take another questions from the audience. QR code and register, and you'll get all the news. You'll get all the, I can speak that loud. You get all the news about our upcoming online course that is going to be free for everyone. We're also going to translate the course in due course. And as I say, please do get in touch. Your feedback and your thoughts and your opinion comments are always welcome. And this is how we can keep on doing peer learning and capacity building materials that really responds to your needs and the needs of countries. Thank you so much, everyone.